I don't know that I've heard anything that's not public. We're trying to do everything we can to offer help from obviously Tennessee Highway Patrol, and then anything else. I'm potentially going to be down there tomorrow waiting to see if there's ways that we can be helpful in that. But I don't know really anything beyond what's been publicly said.
What, in terms of school bus safety, seat belts and such, what do you see?
You know, I said yesterday, I think it's time to have that conversation. And you know, we had a wreck last year in Knoxville with a school bus, last week in Nashville, and obviously the tragedy today in Chattanooga. I think it's time to have all the parties come to the table and have a thoughtful conversation about what can we do to make our school buses as safe as can. I mean, anybody who saw anything of the Chattanooga situation yesterday, I mean, your heart's broken. It's a tragic situation when you have little kids involved. And so I think that's part of our job, to come back and say, are we doing everything we can to ensure safety on school buses?
Of course, the school buses aren't run by the state. I mean,
right.
They're local fleets, and
right.
and the drivers in some cases,
right.
like this one, are subcontracted. Is this one where it makes sense to have more sort of stringent state rules to enforce?
Well, again, I honestly don't know that. That's why I said I think we need to have all the parties come to the table. I mean, when you have, you know, like I said, 3 situations like this and basically about a year, I think that it's incumbent upon us to have that conversation about what are the regulations right or not. But I think until we bring all the people to the table, it's hard to say that.
When you say bring them all to the table, considering it's budget time right now, could you even imagine going over what that budget would even be to have people?
Well, and I don't know that, and then you obviously don't know. As was said, traditionally, school buses have been the responsibility of the local education authorities, the counties and their school boards. And if the state passed a new law regarding that, would we take on some of the financial obligation? I think that's all to be discussed.
Have you had any conversations with lawmakers, though, about, you know, the potential of introducing legislation?
I haven't yet. I've obviously reached out to people in the Hamilton County delegation because it obviously happened in their backyard, but I haven't had any conversations at all about that yet.
That's good.
Anybody else? Yeah, go ahead.
Well,
Go ahead.
yeah. I couldn't help but wonder on the seatbelt thing. There's the seatbelt, or the bus thing. There's a seatbelt discussion, but how much experience should a driver have before driving a school bus?
Yeah,
I mean, this person was 24 years old.
I think that's, yeah, and that's a valid question. I don't know the answer to that, but I think that's when we sit down and say, we've had 3 incidents in a little over a year. I think that has to be part of the discussion, everything from driver experience to driver recruitment. I think most school areas would tell you we have a really hard time recruiting school bus drivers. A lot of our rural areas particularly, I met with them earlier the week, and that was the #1 issue they had, was finding people to drive school buses. So I think the whole situation just, really needs all of us to sit down and look at requirements for driving, requirements for bus safety, and then how do we make certain that's a more attractive job so we can attract the people that we need.